of the recordings. That's why a lot of old recordings still sound amazing. Maybe they're not the best EQ'd, and but whatever you want to call it, or best, cleaned up and all, but they live for a long time. And it's because songs are great, but besides the songs, there's something in that capture, there's something in that feel that speaks volumes, and it's energy captured. And
yeah, a lot of that is like musicians in a room, right? Whether it's Motown or Muscle Shoals or the Beatles, it's just like that energy inside a room that's just like musicians connecting with one another in real time. There's nothing like that, right?
Even punk records. Sometimes I press play and I'm like, man, this is good because that energy is right. Okay, so maybe it doesn't have the low end that we're looking for, or high end, but the energy is right. And a lot of it has to do with capturing that moment back then. It was real. That's how they made the music then. It wasn't synthesized. You know what I mean? Like, not synthesizers, but it wasn't like manufactured. You know what I mean? Whatever they did how it worked out, and that's what and I'm not saying just the mistakes, but I'm just saying, the genre was invented. That's what it is. It's just like probably 4 decades from now, somebody's going to listen to trap music and be like, oh, that's the origin. This sounds real. Well, because it was invented during this time. And, that's where probably the foundation is built. And
right.
I think in sounds too, I've tried a lot of gear. I demoed a lot of gear and figured out what I like and kept what I liked, and stuff that, in time I didn't need. Maybe I sold or put aside in case I need. But I have a lot of custom gear that's built and designed with me involved in the process. Some of it is modified gear that was normal and then tweaked. And some of it is high-end gear as is, like what you would buy. And I like to find what works best, the combination of which ones, how I cascade them. And it's really about, if you can touch on an emotional level, just like songwriting or production is, do that on a mastering level, then the production just moves forward to the listener, just connects them much better. And I think that's something that is not always happening. And there's records that don't have that. They might have good songs, but they don't have that, and they'll have a short lifespan. Some of them have a longer lifespan because the songs were good, but when you have good mastering, it enhances the production and the mix in a way that it connects the listener deeper, even on a subconscious level, that they don't even know why, but they'll enjoy it more. And I think it has to do with good decisions or good taste, and or finding what you can bring to the table that will just move it to the next level, even if it's 5%. 5% is 100% for the listener.
Yeah.
The only person who knows it's 5% or 10% or 20% is the people in the chain of events.
Right, yeah, sure.
But the listener, for them, it's 100%. They're getting a record. They're listening to it. This is what it is.
Yeah. Wow, it's so crazy. I feel like on the one hand, you have this kind of do no harm approach, of meaning you're not trying to impart yourself on the record. You're kind of letting the record tell you where to go. But on the other hand, you're kind of like using the gear and know-how that you have to kind of push the envelope a tiny bit,
Everything you do, even nothing, is imparting yourself, because everything you do is a decision on your behalf. Even if a client tells you do something, once you accepted it, you accepted it. It's a decision you made. Okay? So even if you barely do something and just running it through the desk, that's your desk. That's the sound that you know. It's your DAW that you're working on. It's your sample rate converter you're using, or your dithering, or whatever. Okay?
Yeah.
Those are decisions you made. You did impart yourself in the record, whether it's staining the record or just putting a layer of shellac. That's different approaches to the same thing that you're imparting. Maybe you're not controlling the record, like, oh, this is how I want it to listen to sound like, No, it's not that, but you're always imparting. whether you're more invisible, or you're more putting your fingerprint on it, or in between, imparting some of your sound. Still, the signature is not just the signature. The signature could be, with bold ink, or it could be with very grayish ink. You know what I mean? But, like light ink, or it could be just like with fonts. It could be Miriam, or it could be Times Roman. You know what I mean? The range is big. Okay. Some records I do so minimal, but you'll play the before and after, you'll still hear the difference. And that difference will make you choose which one you connect more on that level. And remember that who's making those decisions is either the artist or producer or mixer or all of the above, or label or manager. So somebody's approving it.
Yeah. Do you take time to kind of just like sit and just feel things, or are you kind of moving fast, just intuition, gut moves,
It's a combination, because some records I'll listen to and I'll be okay, I get it, or I don't get it. Or I get it and it needs fixing in the mix, so I'll send it back. Or sometimes I'll just go into it. Some of it is immediate. A lot of it is actually what's your initial response to it, because if you sit with it too long, you get used to it. You need to be still fresh. So a lot of things need to be immediate response, not like cutting or boosting immediate, but more listening on an immediate level. You know what I mean? Like, I need to catch this right now if I'm vibing with it or not, and not be like, let's listen to the record and for 4 hours, and like maybe others do that. I don't know. I personally have to kind of understand it quick, because I need to get in the zone where I'm feeling where it takes me. If it takes me too long on the trip, I'm probably not going to be as fresh and objective to it.
Right. You're using your gut instincts to kind of get the ball rolling. You're just like twisting knobs already from the first listen, I'm guessing.
I don't say that I'm twisting knobs on the first listen. I would say I'm listening, and maybe I'm trying a few things, but it's not on the first listen. I'm going to start moving knobs. I'm going to play it.
You're making mental notes.
Yeah, it's like, okay, I noticed this and this and this. Okay, let's try something. Okay, it doesn't work. Okay, let's do this. Oh, this works. Okay, that's a good to know. Like, sometimes it's more of listening, absorbing, and then moving. Sometimes it's immediately, okay, let's see if this works or not. Okay, so there is a listening factor of capturing it right, because you have to remember the listener, he presses play. That's his first time he's listening to it.
Yeah.
You got to hit him in the first time. Now, they'll grow into the record and know more of it.
There's only one first listen.
Yeah. Now, the second listen, they'll go deep. They'll hear more things. The fourth listen, or they're sleeping, they're sleeping with the music, they'll hear it differently. If it's in the background while they're working, it will take them to a different journey. Like every time you're listening to the music, you're listening to the same song in the same production, but you're receiving it differently, because your senses are taking it in a different level. Just like if you have a drink, beer or any other alcohol, and you listen to the record, sitting on the sofa, you're going to listen to it differently than if you are making breakfast and listening to the record.
Yeah. So actually that, speaking of that, like, how do you prime yourself before you get into, mastering a record? Like, what kind of headspace are you in? Do you have any routines to kind of get yourself in a good zone, ready to listen?
Usually I don't listen to any music before I work. Unless I worked on something and now I got to work on something else. I take a break, but I don't start my day listening to music, because I just want it to be, I want to be fresh. I don't want to be like, some people like to listen to music before because it resets them on certain things they like sonics, and it drives them like, yeah, let's work on it. It inspires them. For me, I like to have total quiet, not be affected of anything, not being driven forward or not being set back or not being. I'll just start my day setting up the session. Okay, clean slate. Everything's clean. Let's work on it. And but
Nice.
everybody's different because some people want to hear something before, so they know if their ears are in a certain place. Some people like to get inspired by what they're hearing, and then sometimes they bring that to the record, and it could be cool, or the opposite could be taking it to the other direction.
Yeah, you like the neutral blank canvas kind of approach.
Yeah, for me, it's best. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. So based on what you're saying in terms of like your pieces of gear, adding emotion, adding color, I'm assuming you're usually
By the way,
going out of the box.
Sorry to cut you. I'm not adding emotion. I'm enhancing the emotion.
Enhancing emotion.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I'm extending where it goes. I'm engaging with the listener. Emotion is there. It's just maybe it's locked, or maybe it's just not coming out. Yeah, sorry I cut you off on that.
No. That's great. That's an important point. I was gonna say, like, based on what you were saying, I believe that you're almost always leaving the box. Am I correct?
Most of my work is outside the box. But if I need to add plugins to do certain functions, then yeah, if I need to, when I'm adjusting like an album or an EP and I need to make small adjustments, I can do that. And, it's the hybrid way is totally acceptable to me. And I think it's probably the best of both worlds, because both worlds can bring you amazing results. You can get amazing results out of the box, amazing results in the box, and having both of them is beyond amazing. I just like working with gear a lot. It's more nature for me because I'm used to knobs and buttons and switches and whatever it is, and I'm used to the ergonomics of gear and the response of the gear, how one thing affects the other.
Totally. Do you have any particular pieces of gear that you want to shout out on the podcast that you're, using on, many masters?
Well, yeah, but it would sound like a pitch. But I have the oven, which is the collaboration hardware between Handy Amps and me. We're actually now there's another unit called the stove, which I actually, when I showed you the video before, you saw. And we're working on that. We also have a few others. I have some other custom-made stuff that was made for me. The Workshop LTDMA that was made by Roger Foote from FCS. I have the bench that was made from Roger Foote from FCS, and the torch that was made from Roger Foote by FCS. I have the Magic Death Eye compressor. I have one of the older units that didn't have the EQ. It had the blend mix wet dry blend knob. So I have that, and I have the Massilic is amazing stuff. I got converters from JCF Audio, amazing converters. I got also Lynx Hilo, which is my interface between the computer and my mastering desk, and one of the monitoring DAs. I have, the Massilic, I have the console, I have the EQ, I have the multiband, I have the Rupert Neve Designs MBP. I have the Rupert Neve Designs.
It sounds like a retirement fund,
If I sell it, yeah.
Exactly.
I have the Electronauts M97. That's a retirement fund for sure. I have two of those because they're mono.
Amazing.
Yeah, so, there's a lot of more gear, like I said, EQs here and a lot of old gear and clocks and limiters and EQs and tube buffers and custom stuff like this and that, and some Manley stuff, some SPL, some API, a ton of stuff. Like you said, retirement plan, which who knows? But I got different converters. I like using different DAs and different ADs to change the sound, and so yeah, I really like working externally.
Yeah, sounds like it. But I know that you've worked with some plugin companies to kind of make custom presets, channel strips. Do you want to talk about that?
Sure. Yeah, I've done, I don't remember them all, and some of them are not out, but I've done presets for waves like the Abbey Road mastering chain, for some of the plugins in the R series.